McLeod.
And I'm fucking freezing. They said winter is coming. Winter's fucking here, man.
Oh, we're in our snowy North Pole Low Blow studios here for the Low Blow Radio podcast here on YouTube. Thank you for watching and listening to the podcast here. We're doing
That's
the blow
not smoke.
Yes, it's a little chillier where Chris is. It is a more remote location up there visiting Santa. But we're gonna do our. He's back today. It's not just me this week. If you caught last week, it was just me doing a quick little blow by blow. But we're gonna do that again this week. Give it pretty short before we freeze up here in the North Pole. We are gonna do the blow by blow of AEW's Dynamite. It's Wednesday, December 16th. We kicked off with Hangman Page teaming up with Silver and Reynolds from the Dark Order to take on Matt Hardy with Private Party.
The Hardy Party.
The Hardy Party taking on. I like the name for the other guys too. The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I'm loving the push John Silver's getting, man. But Reynolds looked really good tonight as well in the ring. Like,
yeah,
they are looking better and better with the more they get. It's like there's a confidence thing there. Which I think came across in the interview I was reading with Silva as well, that there's a real confidence to them knowing they're in this position now. This is where they're supposed to be. They're getting real action. They're getting real pushes, and they love it, and they're obviously working with it. Page looked great as well. I thought this worked really well as a good match.
Yeah, for sure. I think they maybe been able to become more comfortable and stuff like that when they were under the masks, maybe to like do all that kind of stuff in the ring, that now that they have them off, they're able to just show this different side of them. And they were almost playing more the baby faces in this matchup, taking more of the heat to have the comeback and stuff like that. But made for quite the opening match. I really enjoyed it from both aspects. Surprised by the end though too. I was surprised they didn't walk away with the win.
Yeah, but a great way of doing that to further along what Hardy's been doing with his latest change of character again, where he stole the tag, jumps in, steals the victory.
Yeah.
Private Party were, I guess, kind of pleased that they won, but you could tell obviously a little bit like, hey, what the fuck? Why'd you tag yourself and steal my pinfall?
Yeah,
so,
for sure. No,
great. It worked all the way around. Like you said, we don't expect Dark Order to necessarily get wins on Dynamite anyway. We just want to be entertained by them, and they never fail. And Hangman Page can't be hurt right now by a loss. He's on a streak, right? So
true. No, yeah. I think I was just more in my head that I am just so over with that group that I just was like, of course they're going to get the win here, and thinking that the dissension was already sort of happening with the Hardy Party there. But there's the narrative is obviously there to be told over some time now with Matt establishing this new side of his character. And the plot thickens between the Dark Order and Hangman here. The entrance was fantastic. I liked the combination moves they were able to pull off together. And like you said, Reynolds looked fantastic here, as well as Silver getting his usual showcase.
That little triple team combo they did where they rolled off of each other's moves for a while there, 3 or 4 moves in a row, that was really, really slick looking.
Yeah.
And it leads me to think that Page is going to find a spot with the Dark Order in some fashion or another. They're making it look, they work way too well together for him not to be with him for a little bit now, right?
Yeah, for sure. Or maybe they leave him become his little backup hangman or something like that to the sheriff here.
It's the beginning of the elite of the Dark Order.
Yeah. I can just see them. I just want them selling those hats, right? Like it seemed like you get to see a whole crowd of people wearing those goofy little cowboy hats. I was really digging this gimmick for those guys. So yeah, really, really enjoyed that opening matchup we got there. We got a little promo with the Inner Circle, kind of plugging their match coming up later on, and putting over MJF winning his award from the New York Times. Is that what it was?
Yeah, New York Times is best of the best in entertainment for the year, and they give it to MJF for his performance in the Dinner Debonair. But just fantastic. Tonight was almost better than that. MJF puts himself over at the expense of Chris Jericho, standing right fucking there. Yeah. He's got a grin and smile, that grin all the way through it. Just
but
brilliant.
Still trying to make it about Chris, but not about Chris, and he was just.
Hey, I see you out there on the internet saying that I'm a better performer than this guy. That's bullshit. I mean, that's fucking great.
Yeah, no one asked you to say that. Like, you totally got that up on your own. Yeah, he's on a whole other level here. Just the layers again to the narrative going forward with the Inner Circle turmoil, so to say. a cute little Christmas video package to fit with our festive theme here, announcing Cody and Brandy's baby birth announcement as well. We got a little video package of that. So congratulations to them coming in 2021. So yeah, all the ladies are having babies. So 'tis the season, I guess. And then, this led into a Cody Rhodes match with Angelico, which was a bit of a surprise. I'm not really sure where Cody Rhodes is narratively right now, other than tangling with the Dark Order and not the Dark Order, the Team Taz guys, and not being in the title picture, so to say, kind of thing. But not a bad match between these two.
It was a great match. It feels like this is just, we want to keep Cody on TV, we want to keep him having matches, but they can't be against his storyline opponents, because then we got to do a win or a loss or a screw finish. So I like the way they deal with this, where they keep the feud going without having the match, for example, Roman Reigns against King Corbin. We had to see that match every week to establish with the fans that these guys are enemies. And we're a little bit smarter than that as wrestling fans. We don't need to see them actually compete every single week to know they don't like each other.
Yeah.
So keeping Cody in the ring, and if you're going to have him have a match, have him have great matches like this. Angelico, great wrestler. Yeah. Really smooth, slick. It's a style thing. Just like in MMA, styles make matches.
Yeah, and for sure.
His style of working just meshes so well with Cody. I feel like Rhodes can have a good match with practically anybody. But
we certainly haven't seen him really run into anybody that is that stalemate of an opponent where it seems like they just kind of clash in that style. Yeah, I really enjoyed their sort of mesh up here. I feel like he really put over Angelico's grappling as much as the commentary was as well. So that was fantastic. And then the sort of surprise Cody Cutter out of nowhere too, with just showing that Rhodes has a bit more finishes in his arsenal. So great match from Cody here.
Yep, both guys look good. And then we get Team Taz come out. They threatened to come in and beat up the new baby daddy, and then it's Sting!
Yeah, it's like I still wrote him in capital letters on my notes. I the pop's not gone.
You can't pop 3 weeks in a row. It's not allowed.
Fair enough. Old man Winter's still getting me. I can't help it. The snow came raining in again. Maybe we could have seen a little bit. Maybe I would have. If I had to criticize it, like we were talking about on our other radio show and stuff like that, maybe if they had done this one first, and then if we had actually heard from Sting, because him going now silent after hearing so much from him last week, it did feel like a bit more of a step back from the promo from last week. Like maybe he should have hit someone with the bat at this point, or something like that. But other than that,
I agree. I thought Hobbs was going to get a little too close and be the first guy to get the taste of the bat.
Yeah.
Or we were going to hear Sting say something like, anyone, when you're trying to tip the scales, Stinger's here to tip the scales back even, or some shit like that, to try to, or again, like just staring at Darby. I think I agree with you, actually. If they'd have just flipped this spot with last week's spot, it would have been the third week in a row we would have heard from Sting this week and had the hug with Tony. That would have been a good timing to break the suspense that we broke maybe a little premature last week.
Yeah, you could have just had Sting's going to appear next week like we got here, and then maybe be a little bit more from him at that point. Yeah, if I had to criticize it in some way there, just to sort of maybe placement-wise or whatever. But happy to see Sting in AEW, so I'm still popping. We finally got some furthering in the storyline of Miro and Kip and Penelope.
Kinda,
I suppose. Miro's doing his best to at least let us know that it's still happening, still a thing.
Yeah, we're gonna get a wedding date.
Yeah, next week.
It would be nice if they said something like, "Well, all the COVID-19 has crushed all our preparations. Every time we book a hall, it gets canceled. The social distance rules." Like they could have done something to excuse the fact that they just kind of ignored it half-assed for a bit. True. It's been the excuse for why they had the wedding present that started the fight with the best friends. I don't know. It's what it is. We've got Milo doesn't like Orange Cassidy, and we're gonna obviously see a match between them. I would assume at some point over the New Year's bashes.
You would imagine, with the announcement next week, and then with the furthering stuff we got from Best Friends later on, that would be getting to that mesh point and finally having some of that take place here. Whether they have the wedding take place at the one of the bash evenings coming up currently or whichever, but yeah, it seems like we're finally at least going to be getting this established story and furthering that along. Next in the ring, though, we had Eddie Kingston coming out with a live mic, which is always a fun thing. You never know what Eddie's going to say. He was getting ready to talk to all his enemies.
He told us his enemy list. Number 1, God. Number 2, Pac. Number 3, Archer.
Sure.
Also a bastard. Only one of them didn't like being called a bastard. And it was Archer that came running out from the back, not God or Pac.
Yeah.
And that started a nice little fight there. Butcher and the Blade joined in. That led to Phoenix and Penta joining in. And then that led to the surprise return of Pac, the original bastard.
Yes, earlier on, he didn't just ram them off necessarily as quickly as Chris did there, but yes, in a broad sense, those were his list of people. And when he had got to Pac, he had sort of put over that they had put him on the shelf, sent him back packing to England and that kind of stuff, and that his career was over and you weren't going to be seeing any more of him here in AEW and that kind of stuff. But no, we got a kind of a return there.
I felt like he might have been exaggerating when he said that.
It did seem a little bit, but hey, it's Eddie Kingston at this point. You're like, I gotta believe you. Why should I not? Other than the fact, other than you, you give me no reason not to believe you, right? Like you even quit when you said you wouldn't, right? So
he took a really nasty kick to the jaw.
Oh,
on the outside, Pac's boot. I don't know. I'm going to assume that was a complete accident, but my God, he hoofed him in the mouth.
Oh, Pac is very, very physical, and yeah, he was showing it at that point. Yeah, yeah, they definitely were finally getting the comeuppance there on the Eddie Kingston and the family, Butcher and the Blade, as Archer and Phoenix and Pac were able to scramble them all off there. Yeah,
an interesting JR's favorite spot.
Pardon me. Oh yes, of course.
The corkscrew over the top rope onto the group.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you could not think of that in your head after it had been mentioned. As soon as it sort of had, anytime you see the placement, now you're just like, okay, does it? As long as it makes sense, I'm okay with it, but don't do it all night. And of course, we got a few of them all night, and I can see it. It's a valid point, but
Pac's shoulders and his upper body, when they were doing the screaming over the ropes and he's next to Lance, when he's face to face with Lance, he's half his size. Yeah. When they're leaning over the ropes and the camera's on them together at that equalizing level, he's twice the size of Archer. That's not fucking normal. How does he does he have shoulder implants or something? Like his shoulders,
neck and arms and shoulders
are 3 times the size of an NFL linebacker, and the man's 4 foot nothing, like built with potato chips from the amount he's injured. Yeah. How does he have shoulders and arms like that?
Oh, it's intense. Pac just looks fantastic. Even him and Archer going face to face, I was all for that. I was like, if we get that as a feud, I'm all for that. If it was sort of the in between before one of them getting to Eddie or
a 3-way.
Yeah,
three-way dance with those 3. Fucking right. It gives a good reason, a good excuse for any of them to lose because it wasn't just one-on-one.
Yeah,
that's a great out and a great win for whoever gets the win in it. I think they could do a few of those.
You got all 3 guys are brawlers. One guy's a monster. One guy's a bit more of a high flyer too. Like a great mix of a triple threat. I'm definitely all for that feud going forward. So enjoying this spot. Happy to see Pac back and Archer tearing up house yet again and Eddie getting some comeuppance here. We'll see how he reacts to that moving forward. Next match though, we had the best friends and friends as they.
Well, you're skipping over Dustin.
Oh, did I? Oh, yes.
Dustin Rhodes. Telling us that 7 is indeed a bad idea, always was a bad idea, and next week he will take on Evil Uno in a one-on-one match, which I'm actually quite looking forward to that.
Yes, I am too. I'm going to say, as much as he, is deflecting on the 7 thing, I am all for if that is something for him to go moving forward. Again, what else do you do? Whether if he's just going to be like Uno said last week, him being the third Rhodes. The third
most important Rhodes.
As much as he deflected that and argued against it in his promo, I feel like that cut him deeper than we're going to realize as the story kind of goes on, because that seemed like that was the perfect launching point for a different side of Dustin Rhodes. So that's what I want to see.
If you don't hear this line next week, it's #missed opportunity. But Dustin, in 9 months, you're going to be the 4th most important Rhodes.
That is perfect. I think for sure. If they at some point, that is certainly going to be a missed opportunity if they don't pull that off. So yeah, no, I feel bad. I forgot I didn't write that in my notes here, but yeah, great little. Dustin's always going to be great in a promo there, but I'll be excited for that match. Him and Uno, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Then we hit our 12-man, which should have been a 14-man.
Yes.
Now, do you believe that Wardlaw couldn't make it, or is this just punishment for Brandon Cutlet?
Hey, I'm not sure. He knew at least if anyone was going to be getting cut on the other side, he was the first one to go. Yeah. Look at them all. It's like, well, sorry, Brandon. There's no argument to be made here.
You got to know he's kicking his own ass all day. I mean, damn it, why didn't I stay off Twitter? Damn it.
But yeah, I'm going to say a hard one to kind of call. Like I'm going to say, I was glad we don't do that sort of spot for spot like we used to on these blow by blows with a match like this, because it's certainly hard to follow with a ton of stuff going on. But yeah, the Best Friends teaming up with Top Flight and the Varsity Blondes going up against the Inner Circle. Is this your kind of first time with the Varsity Blondes too? You're not as familiar with?
Well, Griff Garrison we've seen quite a bit of because he's been referenced a lot on Dynamite and on BTE. Yeah. So I've seen him a lot of times. And Pillman Jr. I've known for years because I'm a huge fan of his dad and what he managed to do for years. So, and we have seen them a couple times on Dynamite now. So I'm more familiar with them than I am the Top Flight team for sure.
Fair enough. Yeah. I just wasn't sure. I think that formation of Varsity Blondes is new, but yeah, like they've been around as separate entities for sure. Griff and
plus,
Pillman Jr.
Brian Pillman Jr. being Brian Pillman Jr. Stories about him and the Varsity Blondes team and how he's doing in AEW have been on more of the wrestling websites, the news things that I read.
Right.
Because he's Brian Pillman Jr. It'd be like if Benoit Kid ever gets into wrestling. Yeah. Every time he does an interview, we're going to see it on all of the sites because it's Benoit's kid. So along the same veins, Pillman Jr. gets a lot of press, and well deserved though. He is. JR makes a big deal about him being the spitting image of his dad. I think he already looks 5 or 10 years older than his dad did at his death.
Right.
Pillman had a baby face all the way through his career. This kid looks a little bit more mature.
Right.
And there's something about him I really, really like. And maybe it is just a name thing, but I feel like he's got a lot of chemistry in the ring and a really big future. I feel like he is a star that they're going to be able to build around. I don't feel the same about a Griff Garrison right now.
Yeah, I think
maybe that's not supposed to be unfair. It's not a shot at Griff. It's just the level of somebody's presence, just being in the ring and just being in the match. Yeah. I'm drawn to him. Yeah. And he's very good for his greenery.
Oh, for sure. I was saying this last week too, and I did the little short review before I even got to the little bit that the Varsity Blondes did with their match with FTR. 2 little points to make there. I really enjoyed how well the Varsity Blondes sell, like Griff, but especially Pillman. He sold for FTR last week very well, and in this match. And I think it's the other side of wrestling, and some guys don't grasp that aspect of it till maybe a little bit later in their career, and it's something he's getting to know early on, to have like his comebacks mean a little bit more, and you can get behind the character. And before I'd even got to his match, like he's someone you can really get behind and you kind of focus on. And I was like, I feel like it's a missed opportunity if they don't eventually team him and Austin Gunn up. It just seems like the perfect like junior guys, second generation guys getting together, right?
Yeah, I could see. Although, to be honest, I could also see him shaving his head bald and having him become a merger himself of his dad's old character and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, right, yeah.
But all by himself, he's both rolled into one.
I
believe he could be a real badass.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a psychopath wrestler like his dad had to be.
Yeah.
And that was Pillman's character, was a madman, and it worked so well for him because you could believe, again, it's the believability that the guys can get behind their shit.
Yeah.
And Pillman Jr., I could buy an air of tough guy, real life athlete, real life ass kicker, and a badass, as much as more than just psychopathic lunacy. So yeah, I love that. His bit with Jericho to open the match, I really enjoyed. The two amigos from Santana on Trent, teasing the third one, and he tagged Ortiz. They did the double team move. I love that little bit. That was great. MJF finishes the match off with the 3 count. Top Flight impressed me a lot too, actually. The Martin brothers looked really good.
Yeah, they were getting crisper and crisper, getting more comfortable in there. I think a little bit faster than maybe like Private Party, like I say in their match a little bit earlier on. They have got there now, and I think Top Flight's getting to like that place Private Party had got to maybe a little like 6 months in, and they're
Yeah.
2 or 3 months in now. So again, the flow is there. The more and more matches they can have on Dark as well here on Dynamite and get that sort of exposure and more comfortability is fantastic for them. And I think especially next week they're going to be getting quite the showing for themselves. So we'll see what happens there. But I was really impressed with them, and Chuck and Trent always looking fantastic. Really enjoyed Orange on commentary as much as you didn't hear him, but everything Excalibur was saying was great.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Then we moved to a promo from Thunder Rosa to Britt Baker. Oh my God, she went after her big nose. I couldn't fucking believe it.
I know. How dare her?
The Baker attack, though, from behind after Reba came out and telling her, you don't talk about my dentist that way. Baker attacks from behind, holds her in her the lockjaw move, and washes off her makeup, called her ugly. So that's it. Those girls think the other one's ugly. They're going to fight now.
Yes.
I love the matchup. Like, so, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the fact that you see, watch too much wrestling. It's hard not to compare it to other stuff. And this just felt exactly like and when something's done better, when Randy Orton did it to Jeff Hardy and like held him on the desk and beat the shit out of him and poured the water on his face. It was just so much more visceral and like all that kind of stuff, tearing up his ears and all that kind of stuff. And all I could think of was just like, all I could think of was the Randy stuff, and then she just made it a bit more of a joke, but I mean, which was fine. I mean, just playing off the painted face thing. But again, I could have got a little bit more of a reason for them to fight, which they already have. But I'd like to just get to the match at this point.
Yeah, agreed. And I still think it'll be a good match. It doesn't take away from it, but
no,
Then we got to match number 4, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian of the SCU against Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, the Acclaim.
Yes, making their Dynamite debut. They had already had they'd said 7 matches already on Dark, which is crazy. I didn't know they'd already been around that long, but
their in-ring debut, right? Because they did their rap battle debut. Was that 2 weeks ago? Their first John Cena appearance?
Yes, when they were rapping against or cutting a little bit of a rap promo against the Young Bucks a couple of weeks ago, and then they making their in-ring Dynamite debut here. Taking on SCU, still cutting the John Cena or the Man on the Moon style promo.
The Man on a Mission. That was actually the best line out of all of the rap battles, was when Kazarian referenced Man on a Mission to them. I actually said, "Ah!" So that was good. So, but that was it. Kazarian's bit was really, really cringeworthy. The poor bastard. You know he hates this too. Why isn't he allowed to unleash his being the elite character? Aside from swearing, right? But unleash that guy on them. That would have been way more entertaining than him doing the rap back, but whatever. The match was fantastic.
No, this really got me cleaned over. I really enjoyed their stuff on Dark lately and stuff like that. I'm fine with the rap gimmick stuff. I get that it's been done before, but a lot of stuff's been done before in wrestling. So
it's not just been done before. It's so old, and it's some of the this one was less offensive to me than the one with the Bucks when they started doing it to the Bucks afterwards, and like the cuck line, the belt, and the other thing. And it's like, now you're just trying to be fucking dirty and edgy with it as well. It's an old played gimmick. It's so played. And that's it. If you want to do an old style one, then do it old school, CD is an outdated format. That was, for what it's worth and for what it is, that's okay. That was funny. The other stuff, it was just like, just say you guys are cucks with those titles. Say it. You don't have to wrap it to be cool or edgy or anything. So
it's a character. I prefer that than people who are just, sometimes when you can't just have everybody just say stuff. I prefer that, Max is this character, right? He raps shit at you. He talks a bunch of shit. They back it up in the ring, and
fair enough.
Bowen's there to back it up with him. I'm all for that. Character is the other part of wrestling. It's a criticism I'm going to say, if we're going to break off the blow by blow of this, I would give to Ring of Honor. They have fantastic wrestlers, but they don't have wrestling characters in Ring of Honor, right? And that's the other side of things. You got to have some a little bit more play there, and so that's where it doesn't bother me as much. But I can see where it's not for everybody.
The match, as I said, I thought the match was fantastic. The Blue Thunder Bomb for 2, I thought that was actually going to be the finish because I didn't think the kids were going to pull it off.
Right.
So I thought it was enough for them to have a really good match against SCU and then maybe win over the next 3 weeks to get the heat back. But instead they won and then challenged the Young Bucks to a title match.
Yeah.
Which the Bucks seem to agree to. But I'm going to be surprised if that ends up being a title match come next week or the week after.
They said it was when they went through the card for
Con did,
Day.
okay.
Yeah. So next week, that's the big match for next week's card is the title match. So I was fine with them winning because I think they need more established heel tag teams right now because now they have a babyface tag champs and it's kind of the reverse of what you had with FTR, where they were kind of putting over the newer and other baby faces in the group. And right now you can't really, it doesn't, as much as you're going to get a good match out of like the Jurassic Express in there against the Young Bucks, story-wise doesn't really make sense, or some of the other teams. So you need to establish some more heels. So I think bringing up a nice new team like this, I'm all for it. And I think they'll put on a really good match. So.
Yep, agreed. I think it'll be a good match. And then Top Flight issued their own challenge to Jericho and MJF, calling them bitches as well, though, and that pissed me off too. But I thought these kids had a great match earlier in the night, and I think they'll have a good match against Jericho and MJF.
Yeah.
Plus, that's going to further Jericho and MJF's narrative. So I'm looking forward to the match. JR likes Dasha too.
I think he definitely does.
You're doing a hell of a job, girl. She did nothing, JR. She asked 2 questions literally and stood there.
Yeah.
Nothing, not a damn thing.
Yeah. Fantastic job from Dasha. Speaking of the women, we got a great women's match coming up later on too. We had the Ivelisse and Diamante, the winners of the women's tag team tournament, competing against Big Swole and Serena D. They kind of had a video package from last week where Swole and Serena D were there to save Red Velvet, who was getting attacked by these two, and Jade Cargill and
Vicky.
Yeah, Vicky and Nia. I guess making a little bit more sense of that now. It's seeming that I was like, oh, it feels like they're just substituting Velvet now for Brandy. That seemed weird last week. And now that makes a ton of sense, obviously, because Brandy's pregnant and is not going to be in any more of these segments. So
yes, they had to substitute. Yeah. This is the problem with using girls in wrestling.
Yeah.
Just saying, they get pregnant.
Something to certainly keep in mind, or that they should be keeping in mind as well. So to be nice and safe, they were able to swap everybody around here. But
I'm kidding, by the way. It's like that was just a joke. It's not. I don't really think that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I thought this.
I didn't know how to transition out of it. I'm so sorry. It was really hard to go into the women's match after you were like, maybe they should wrestle.
I thought it was a great match. I had Serena and Ivelisse and Diamante have turned this women's division around, along with Thunder Rosa, into being a wrestling division.
Yes.
And this was, again, it was another great match, really good performance. And the way that they wrapped the finish out with it, with bringing Red Velvet into the ring and bringing her into the mix again with it, we're going to have probably a couple of 6-way or 8 women tag matches through the next few weeks of holiday shows, I expect. I thought Vicky Guerrero looked terrible. Her work stuff, like her hitting. Again, if Vicky Guerrero, she just screams annoyingly and makes me want to hate her and get like that, but she's not doing that.
Yeah, she's not
doing all the other stuff.
Yeah, she's not being utilized and in the right way, and then because she isn't, your focus is kind of drawn to that so much because she's not as good at some of these other things. So
she's being more physical than Arn, Jake, or Tully.
Yeah, and there's no reason for it. Yeah, the other girls are doing just fine on their own. She doesn't need to be getting as involved, especially with Nia. She can do everything on her own. She can just be there screaming. But just like you had said, I would have to definitely feel the exact same way. Ivelisse and Diamante put on a great match, and Swole is getting better and better, especially in the finish. They're looking pretty good.
I love she plays her character to perfection. Like there's no. I believe she believes in herself, and I believe that she believes she's Big Swole, and like she's that wrestler is her character. I'm no pro. She, you put her in the ring with these 3 other women, she's going to look like the weakest worker because she is the greenest weakest worker of the 4. That's not a knock. That's just the fact.
Yeah.
But she's in these matches to learn from, and so that she doesn't get overexposed for too long by herself in the ring. So
sure.
I agree with you. I think she is definitely improving in the ring, but these girls are at another level.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's
she's
not going to suddenly be like an equal.
No, but yeah, it feels less like when where it stands out when if it was like a singles match against her and just Evil.
Yes.
And you're like, Evil
totally agree.
So much more better, right? Yeah. So,
yeah, agree.
A little bit more a better placement, I think, for Swolane to get her with the big win there with the cloverleaf finish there. And then the schmoz and stuff. And yeah, nice to see the other women getting involved more and more going on. And just the importance of that NWA title, as much as it's being held up as important as the women's title, for better or worse, I suppose.
As important or even more so. I mean, that was one, not a knock, but a little JR-ism at the start of the match where he's like, everyone wants Serena Deeb, the number 1 talent in AEW. And you're like, whoa, you're champ, JR. You've got another, like, the AEW champion is not in the ring right now. So, a little, again, he's just hyping and over, but it's a little oversell when you've got Sheeta is also supposed to be right there, or maybe valued more highly because she's your champion.
For sure.
So,
I'm just saying if that was all part of the like, again, we don't know exactly what the deal was with NWA, but if part of it was X amount of TV time or X amount of push to establish it as much importance, and then them not realizing how much that was going to affect their women's title. Maybe they had thought it was already established in this like bigger than it was thing, and then now realizing, but the NWA title now feels far more important because of the talent that came with it, with Thunder Rosa and stuff like that.
That's not a bad thing to have happen theoretically if it pushes them to make their own women's title now again. Like, we're going to try to elevate its prestige versus trying to drag this one down.
True.
So as long as that's the direction they take, and I feel like they would, I don't think they're the kind that would say like, well, better start jobbing this belt out just to make sure it's brought down in the eyes of fans.
And if it's
I don't think they're going to intercontinental title it.
Yeah. And if it's just a way to have more women feel more like just more avenues and things to be going after, so that they're not just stuck on one story too. You can have Britt and Thunder Rosa having their thing. Sheeta and Abaddon are doing their kind of story. You now have this story going on. Whereas before it felt like it was just, you could do one story and then it was the next because it could only be about the women's title. So maybe at least bring it in, you at least bring another tier in, but yeah, you hope it's just not going to elevate above your main title. So,
but again, we've complained in this show on the past about exactly that problem with the women's division of it being very narrow-minded and very singular in its thing. So feeling both of us agreeing that it's expanding and going places. We're not complaining about that. So like it definitely feels like it's in the right direction and things are moving along.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just sort of it's a testy ground. So we'll just hopefully see how things move forward. But yeah, I'm all for it here. We had a little promo from the best friends, letting Miro and Kip know that they're going to be around next week at the Christmas thing too, because they're festive boys putting over their festive T-shirts, and they'll be there for the wedding announcement as well. You can imagine furthering that kind of story.
Then we got a Jurassic Express video package, and I literally had written down, where the best friends promo, Jurassic Express vid package, where the fuck are FTR? Hey, it's FTR! Come to save the day.
That's you almost thought like maybe they were like trying to get that in your head.
And came out to say, hey, highlighting all the fucking sideshow acts. We need to eat. My family needs food. Where the hell are we?
Yeah. No, a great way of doing a promo, and a great promo from the FTR. A nice way to kind of interrupt this video package, be like, hey, no more of this kind of bullshit, that kind of stuff. And this kind of little bit more edgy side of the FTR, we got it last week in their match with Varsity Blondes, where they were just a little bit more roughhouse and that kind of stuff than we were getting from them previously. And then, this side of them here in this promo too, just, fantastic. Another level to the FTR.
Then we got an announcement about next week's show. Is the Holiday Bash will be after NBA basketball, starting at the earliest 10 p.m. So we'll cut this show next Thursday morning, maybe at the real studio.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try a live stream through OBS. You want to try that next week?
We could talk about it. We'll figure something out. We'll
figure
be something
out
next week, but it may not be the typical time or whatever. But we'll get something out around the holidays, whichever for everybody. But yeah, with the odd timing of AEW next week, we'll have to see what happens. But they got a pretty stacked card to make sure everyone's still tuning in around the holidays and stuff like that with the Young Bucks match, as well as the Jericho Top Flight. What else did they announce?
Dustin versus Uno.
Oh, yeah. And then Pac and Butcher.
Yeah, Pac versus Butcher. We will get Shida on the show, which means we will get Abaddon on the show.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything else announced for this one.
Yeah, I can't remember if there was anything else either. But yeah, it feels like a good card, especially with the Young Bucks and stuff like that. And there's a lot of
we'll get the wedding date.
Yeah.
We're going to hear what the wedding date is next week. So Private Party. The Best Friends will fight with Miro and the guy getting married. Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
Then we move into our no disqualification world title eliminator matchup. Joey Janela, the bad boy, with Sonny Kiss.
Yes.
Taking on AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the AAA Mega Champion, the Collector of Championships, none of which currently come from North Carolina, Kenny Omega.
Yes, the 14-day reign of the new AEW champion. Another fantastic intro from Justin Roberts here, bringing Kenny Omega in. Brought Don Callis with him yet again. Don Callis trying to get on the commentary booth, getting into it with Tony Schiavone. Tony having none of it though, and then you're just going to get to hear Don Callis on the microphone. But Joey Janela not wasting any time to get things started here. He came out with some weapons, and he instantly was getting them in the face of Kenny Omega.
I love cookie trays. If you must have, you've done backyard wrestling with friends. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nothing beat the cookie sheet, man. It made a fucking great noise.
Yeah, it was the best one.
It gets up and looks like it's been disastrous, but you don't feel it. It doesn't even register. You might as well use a piece of paper. So it's such a cool weapon. The garbage can, though, when Omega did the moonsault with the garbage can, there's no way that didn't crush his poor face, right? Janela was lying there smushed.
I'm gonna say this did two things, and it furthered the story, like everyone had said, with the fact of the internet wrestling people talking about what would have happened if Joey was in that match with Sonny. Would it have been the same squash and that kind of stuff? So we got to see that kind of play out, and also what happens with a mean new Kenny Omega if you put him in this sort of stipulation, stuff like that, where he is actually better than the other person, and no better person to take that grunt of nasty shitty offense than Joey Janela. So
Joey Janela likes to get in a wrestling ring and have the shit beaten out of him. It's his thing, kind of, and he got everything he wanted tonight and more.
Yeah. Oh my
god. The V
gosh.
triggers looked dynamic tonight. Just two this evening, but that was one more than he needed to hit him with.
Yeah.
So that again adds that violent streak of Kenny. The Don Tony stuff when Don was walking around the ring with the microphone doing commentary, and Schiavone says something about, this isn't about you and me, Don. I got to admit, this is one of these guilty pleasure things. I kind of like it when they have the odd match where commentator versus commentator or whatever versus whatever. If they've had a nice
it's part of it, yeah.
I won't mind seeing the day that Don Callis versus Tony Schiavone comes, because I think that'll actually be a fun little 5-minute clusterfuck of a match to watch. But anyway, yeah, that was funny.
I really enjoyed this. It got over Kenny Omega on a whole different kind of level here. Joey getting that early kind of offense, trying to kind of utilize the weapons and stuff like that, trying to set stuff up outside the ring. And Kenny, as soon as he sort of saw an opportunity, he just took it. That bulldog onto that chair was just nasty as hell to start things off. And then Joey's just selling of the plate and all the other offense, taking the garbage can onto his face and all that other kind of stuff. He just looked sore, and after he kicked out, he kind of looked like he regretted it every time. Do I want to continue? I guess. And
I'm going to get in trouble if I eat the 3 here. I have to kick out. He hasn't hit me with the angel yet. So, then we get the 1-wing angel. We get the 3 count. Yeah. And then Pac comes out to interrupt the Callis and Omega thing. And immediately I'm like, ooh, this wasn't what I expected to see. And it's perfect storytelling again, because just for the same reason that Callis was saying, well, now all questions are answered. We've beaten the guy that he didn't face in the tournament that he was supposed to. So that's it. That's all over. Yeah. Pac reminds everybody, no. There was one other, because you didn't face Ray Phoenix, and he didn't lose. Yeah. He didn't lose. He had to get replaced. So next week, this is the big one. Kenny Omega versus Ray Phoenix next week for the World Heavyweight Championship. What a match. Oh, yeah, that was the other one. Yeah, I guess we had forgot we were announced the other ones. I cannot wait for that. No, I thought this was a great way of getting that over and having, I'm going to say it helped the Lucha Bros with the language barrier there to have Pac be the one that was putting them over in this sense, like the same way Eddie was previously. Yep. It's good to have someone else in that slot, not relying either on having either them cut it in Spanish and someone interpret, or them do it in broken English, or what's even worse is when they rely on the commentary to try and establish it, like, oh, you can tell Phoenix is out here and then they have to hit all the beats, and then they're kind of like lost in the story. So no, a really good way to not only establish like that there's something between Pac and Kenny, which would be great eventually down the line, which I can't wait for, but then him just putting over his group and the furthering match between him and Phoenix, all for that. So great way to end the card, and just pissed off Kenny Omega as the thing closed off. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, getting Kenny even against Ray in a one-on-one match. Looking forward to this on a big show on Dynamite or on a pay-per-view show for a while now. So I'd say since he won that belt off him, right? Like since he won the Mexico, like the Triple Omega belt off him, like it was a long time ago now on that Dynamite. So I can't wait for this rematch. A match we thought we were going to get in the tournament because they were on the similar brackets or whatever, and they were eventually going to meet up. We ended up getting Penta. So excited to, and again, it made sense in the story, and a match that you're already excited to see furthering for Kenny there, and great furthering feud, and I like the tease of even another, a trilogy of guys that Kenny might need 2 friends to back him up against. I wonder who they might be. Jeez, I wonder what kind of good brothers he might have in mind. So on Impact Wrestling this Tuesday night, Kenny, well, you tell the story. You actually watched it. Well, yeah, so I'm gonna say, for anyone who hasn't been keeping up with things and the Kenny Omega Impact stuff that's been going on, Kenny Omega did make another appearance on Impact Wrestling. He was there with Machine Gun when he was taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. Just Chris Sabin. Yes, Chris Sabin. Afterwards, Kenny was getting a little pissed off with he was watching the show all night, and he was getting a little pissed off with the stuff Rich Swann was talking about all night, because he was mentioning Kenny Omega's name in whichever. We get a little backstage fight between Machine Gun taking on the Motor City Machine Guns, and then Rick Swann got involved. We got the return of the Big LG at that point. They were still getting a little bit outnumbered though, and then boom, huge V trigger on Rich Swann. Fucking first move, an actual appearance from Kenny Omega doing something in Impact, not just sitting on the bus. They all kind of throw their guns up, and looks like he talks a little bit about a Bullet Club reunion or so of sorts, and Don Callis said he was going to play his EVP card and book a match, and then it's January 16th. Kenny's going to reteam with the Good Brothers to take on Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann. So cannot wait for that match. It just unbelievable. The implications of it and just everything, like, oh, unbelievable. And in time for the February pay-per-view that we're going to have with AEW, to have guys come over, and what's it called again? For the AEW's next pay-per-view? AEW's next one is Revolution. Pretty fucking revolutionary to be having crossover stuff with another promotion, and it seems like the build so far has been just what I would have hoped it would be.
Oh, totally. So apropos, yes, with the Revolution name moving forward here. Again, it didn't all have to happen all at once, but again, the little seeds moving forward here with the Good Brothers and Kenny. The next step is, again, guys coming the other way or more guys going the other way. So yeah, just even just the slight insight of it here, as a wrestling fan, I cannot wait. It gets me so excited for all these other products and what else could happen, and then who else is going to be getting involved and stuff like that. So I think it just helps bolster all the rest of them, as well as the views, at least for me, on AEW. So I'm all in on this story. So
Might have to find a little spot for an Impact logo.
I think so. Maybe. Well, we never talk about Bellator, so they could probably.
That's true.
But then it would be all wrestling. That's fair. I'm sorry, Bellator. Maybe they could get a split screen at the top.
We occasionally on the radio Bellator comes up. Just on this show. On this show, we really don't talk much UFC either.
Yeah,
it should
they
just
might
be
just
a great
have to
big
get a
fucking
little-
AEW, but
they'll get a little split screen. You have to do Bellator. But we'll talk those kind of things off air anyway. We'll save that.
when we move into the new studio in January.
Exactly. Maybe we'll see what updates later on. But hopefully you enjoyed the festive setup. I think that about wraps things up for the blow by blow here tonight. But Chris, let everyone know where they can hear us.
You can hear us on the radio on 88.7 The River. If you're in Ontario, Canada. If you're not lucky enough to be in Ontario, Canada, you can catch it online, 887theriver.ca, and check it out under the archives. You can also hear this show in audio format without the Christmas decorations and our beautiful faces and horrible lighting, on my side at least, on any of the podcast places.
Yes, and if you do want to catch our sweet Christmas decorations and awesome festive faces here, you can definitely catch us here on YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel. You can like this video. It helps our analytics and all that kind of stuff. You can share it with all your friends. That also helps us out. Ring the little bell. It notifies you when new videos come out. That always helps us as well. Getting in the comments helps as well too. Let us know what you
4 seconds of view time would help our analytics. So.
Yeah, everything helps. Please. If you made it to this point, thank you. That helps us quite a bit. So not to beg and plead here at the holiday times, but yes, views are fantastic here on YouTube. So we enjoy anybody who has came here to check things out. Get into the comments. Let us know what you thought about this episode of AEW and our blow by blow, and we'll be back. Yeah, we'll come up with some kind of a festive thing for everybody next week. But yeah, we'll be back next time on Low Blow Radio Podcast.
Adios, amigos.